Hey guys, with this one right here, coming into this right here with this thing, you got Taze, LD, 6-7, Shook Knight. You got Shook Knight. Shook Knight coming to it with Taze, LD, 6-7, and then you got, just the Shook Knight, with the music video and the Taze and the LD with 6-7. 6-7 coming into the whole thing, LD 6-7, especially with Taze. They both, coming into the whole, the Celeste thing. But you got the Shook Knight, Shook Knight, hey, Shook Knight coming into it with Taze, LD, 6-7, mainly the whole thing, and everything else, commiserate, but just with everything else, Shook Knight, pleasures, and everything else.
I Tweako mix this, It sounds cold.
Ants made this.
Look, we could do this like Suge. Ten toes down in the hood. Right. Tell me, baby girl, is the us tight? She ain't gonna get no wood. Right. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos. We could do this like Suge. Them man, Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos. Not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos. We could do this like Suge. Ten toes down in the hood. Right. Tell me, baby girl, is the us tight? She ain't gonna get no wood. Right. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos.
Hey, let them know. Hey, he's putting the whole thing like you got a little bit of the tunedy to it, a little bit of a mixture to it. He said with them mans and everything else, and then we could do this stuff like just like Sub-Zeros, and the main thing just blisking up and everything else. Like you got the whole thing, just a little bit of a skinless.
Weirdos. Them man get like brats. Them man weird like them man died and they couldn't get changed, so they respawned him on a tap. Right. Ever think see a bad slide? Them man wet like tap. I ain't tryna find me, I'm outside. You don't wanna see me in a rare drive. Them man, cranny. I you go jail for raping to Arnie. Not let me in that part, cranny. I don't wanna see me in a rare drive. Them man, cranny. I you go jail for raping to Arnie. Not let me in that party. Don't get me mad, let me lift this party.
Ooh, knock, let me in that party. Hey, let me in that party, and the whole thing like Bruce, the whole thing like, hey, he's coming for the. Hey, this something scritchy right here, scritchy coming into the whole thing, like, especially with everything else, like, even the Ludus and stuff like that, like, especially with the whole thing, because, it'd be thrown off, like, it'd be thrown off to all type of Ceratos and Iffidos and the whole thing, like, with the whole thing's speeching in, like, hey, like, he's, like, the whole thing and everything else is come already convenient, like it's already convenient.
Let me lift this Taurus. He tried run and got hit with a Taurus. I think that's a call from Paula. Edit, she called an unknown caller. We could do this like Suge. Ten toes down in the hood. Right. Tell me, baby girl, is the us tight? She ain't gonna get no wood. Right. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos. We could do this like Suge. Ten toes down in the hood. Right. Tell me, baby girl, is the us tight? She ain't gonna get no wood. Right. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos.
Them man, too weird. Any drop man got flew there. Had a rope on the SAA, he couldn't get con for the whack, it was too rare. Fair said I can't go to the Lambert flats, true say I flew there. Had a rope on the SAA, he couldn't get con for the whack.
Oh, and this one is risky too. It has a whole risk to it. Like this one's another relevant. Like this one's another reveal. Like it just seems so reveal. The way this one is coming in. Like the whole thing is already on another risk. Like a risk of a consent. Like the whole thing and the main thing. Especially with his whole thing coming into it. Because it's like they came in different Tetris times. Hey, but the risk and the elevation, hey, this one is the one right here, because, you got the whole relevation and everything else, and, this one is so stretchy.
it was too rare. Fair said I can't go to the Lambert flats. True say I spilled too much juice there. They say I got the whole team locked. I be giving out orders. True man grew there. And K just built up a record. One up, we gon' respect this one. G17 and a beam, that's a record gun here when I press this one. When you see dope smoke in the cut, don't lift up your chest, just run. Just cut. Stretch gang, we put man in the ground. Don't stop for the feds, just run.
We could do this like Suge. 10 toes down the hood. Tell me baby girl is the us. Tight. She ain't gonna get no wood. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos. We could do this like Suge. 10 toes down the hood. Tell me baby girl is the us. Tight. She ain't gonna get no wood. We could do this like Sub-Zero. I'm not one that loves heroes. Them man, weirdos.
Ooh, coming into this one though right here and everything else, like, hey, Taze, he didn't let it off. Like he didn't let us know the whole thing, like, especially with Taze, you know, cause he's the main one, you know, coming into the whole thing, like even this one coming into it. But he said we could do it like just like Shook Knight, like, hey, the whole thing. But hey, he didn't let it off, like, especially with this whole thing, you know, and everything else. Like, it was so vicinity, like with the whole thing coming around and everything else, like especially with LD67, like he popped out the cut, and you know he didn't, you know, came in his whole legendary and came in, you know, different 0 times, you know, and everything else. But especially with Taze, because Taze, you know, he was really for listen, like he was coming in for that for listening and everything else. But you guys, Shook Knight and the whole thing, you know, coming into this one right here. But make sure you guys definitely subscribe, like, comment, and everything else, especially with this whole thing right here. Like, you know, from we could do this just like from the Sub-Zero and everything else, like, hey, coming from another benefit, you know, and everything else. But just with this one,